more threatening messages coming from the trans community and their allies. This after the surreptitious release of at least a portion of the writings of the Nashville school shooter, a trans person. They did their best to keep it under wraps as long as they could, waiting for this judicial adjudication. Now, here's an example of what I'm talking about. Now, this is just a one-off. This is not a commentary on every person who identifies as trans or anything like that. But the reason it's relevant, even though it's anecdotal, is because of the general characterization by the cultural and civic institutions in this country of trans people being the new magical people. They can do no wrong. They are only right.
They should be celebrated at all times.
Absolutely.
No questions asked. If you even look at them the wrong way, we're going to ruin your career.
Well, this trans lunatic has a message for transphobes.
Yes, I do wish death on transphobic people because they wish death on me and have caused death to many, many, many of my brothers and sisters in the trans community. I want to stab all of you to death as many times as I can. I want to stab you in the throat and twist it like I'm carving a pumpkin. I want to shred you into tiny pieces. I want to tear your bones out from your body. I want to scoop your brains out with a spoon. I want to eat your flesh.
Do you think the FBI is investigating this lunatic?
Well, I don't know about the FBI. It's not a specific threat, but I would say this. That's a person who chose to post that message on TikTok, on social media. So
imagine what the manifesto would look like.
I wonder if there's someone around them that might suggest that they need some counseling of some sort. So does LeVar Burton, apparently. Yeah, Kunta Kinte. LeVar Burton, the actor.
Yeah.
Right? People know him. He hosted the National Book Awards this year. And he opened with, "Before we get going, are there any Moms for Liberty in the house? No? Good. Then hands will not need to be thrown tonight." What? What? Follow up. What, LeVar, you want to punch out moms who disagree with you about the kind of books that should be offered in K through 12 classrooms and libraries? That's your response? Throw hands? What? It's interesting how emboldened the trans community is, despite the fact that it's not particularly popular. It's not getting more popular, particularly aspects of it like men playing women's sports. But they press on. That says something about the quality of the pushback. It's not very vocal. And it's not very demonstrative. You were talking about women, fathers of women, pushing back when it comes to men in girls' and women's sports. And they're just, it's hard to find an example. I know there's a couple of examples last week. A female prize fighter wouldn't fight a man pretending to be a female. A female, that was in Canada, female pool player in the UK wouldn't play pool against a man. And that's not like a woman couldn't beat a man in pool. It's not really a strength competition, obviously. But
it's principle.
It's a principle, exactly. But it's just, though it's, you have to really dig to find examples of that. And, of course, they're not amplified because the alignment of the Western culture is to silence pushback and promote the magical people narrative that I was just describing. Oh, and by the way, it continues unabated in the schools. Here's another outfit to look out for, a group called No Outsiders. And here's another book, lest I draw the ire of LeVar Burton, Introducing Teddy. Listen to this grade schooler listen to this grade school teacher at a primary school in the UK introducing Let's Go Teddy, reading from the book to 10-year-olds.
If I tell you, said Thomas, you might not be my friend anymore. I'll always be your friend, Thomas. Thomas the teddy took a deep breath. I need to be myself, Errol. In my heart, I've always known that I'm a girl teddy, not a boy teddy. I wish my name was Tilly, not Thomas. Is that why you've been so sad? Errol asked. I don't care if you're a girl teddy or a boy teddy. What matters is that you are my friend.
No Outsiders is the group introducing Teddy as the book. Get him early. Oh, and I mentioned before the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade on Thursday will feature trans and gender fluid individuals too as the celebration continues in the face of the American people. It's basically saying, what are you going to do about it? Well, Chadwick Moore is the New York Times bestselling author of Tucker, the biography on Tucker Carlson, and contributing editor at Spectator World, that is. Chadwick, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Hey, good morning. Great to be back with you guys.
So how about that Macy's Day Parade development? And what that indicates, as I was suggesting, that look, it is full steam ahead. There are no recriminations. There is no pause. It is pressing down.
Yeah, it really is. And, it's quite amazing. Something as sort of wholesome and traditionally American as the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. If not anything, that's just further driving to shove this into the face of every single American. And there was a time that, and so much of this, also this attention on trans is putting trans people under a level of scrutiny that most of them didn't even ask for. And there was a time when, if someone was suffering from gender dysphoria, it was a sort of more private, dignified affair. That, of course, is no longer the case. And it's really, almost like a testament to see how far, one of the reasons I think that they push the trans narrative so hard is that it's almost a way to say, if you can get people to believe this, you can get them to believe anything. If you can get them to believe that biological sex doesn't matter, that men can become women, etc., that's sort of like the ultimate form of control in many ways.
But you have these drag queen shows with children. It's similar to a strip club, and you would never in a million years, police, government authorities would never allow kids to go into a strip club and sit there and hand strippers dollar bills, but yet it's okay with drag queens, and they're just as scantily clad.
Oh yeah, it's not even worse. I mean, the drag thing is just so bizarre, and it's this hypersexualization. I mean, drag is adult nightlife entertainment. I love a drag queen. Get into plenty of drag shows, but they're adult nightlife entertainment with children involved with that. And then even more sick, you have child drag queens. There was a story a couple of years ago that were performing in gay bars, scantily clad little children, and also taking money for tips. That was a story that happened in Brooklyn at a gay bar a few years ago. And the left is fully on board with this, and gay people fought for so long to get rid of the pedophile stigma and even get pedophiles out of their ranks when the gay rights movement was fully underway in the 80s and 90s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. There are pedophile groups that want to jump on board with that. And, of course, the gay rights activists fought very hard and effectively to purge that element. Now here it is in full force, and everyone seems to be okay with it.
Well, you wrote this piece, Why It's Time for the LGB to Divorce T and Q. How much of an undercurrent among the gay community is there for what you're suggesting?
So it's really, I mean, this has been in the last few years, last couple of years, there has been this huge push, mainly in this country, mainly online. It's just, people with Twitter accounts, basically, that are pushing a divorce between the LGB and the TQ. And they're seeing it as, this trans activism is not only antithetical to what it means to be homosexuality. If gender doesn't exist, you can switch genders, and what is it to be gay? But it's also hurting national perceptions of gay people. Recent studies have shown by Gallup and other places that support for gay marriage and things like that are actually dropping for the first time ever. And a lot of that is, I think, because of the insanity of the trans issue being lumped in with these causes. What's interesting, though, is in the UK, this movement has had a lot more support and a lot more official support, and also has been given some favorable media coverage. There's nonprofits like a group called LGB Alliance that have received charitable status. They're working to separate, sex and gender from trans from statistic taking. And, one of the reasons I think that might be is the nationalized healthcare system in the UK. And this is what a lot of the activists told me in the article, is when you have socialized medicine, gender and sex are taken a little more seriously, and there's more scrutiny placed on issues of gender and sex, where you can't just assume that men can become women, mainly because they're tax-funded healthcare system. So there's a little more public support and official support in the UK for this. Here in the U.S., it seems to be more loosely organized, but there's tons of gay people who really want to be separated from this and are officially, trying to divorce that.
And I mean, the representation, right? This representation issue, sort of the people that are quiet or they live their lives, relatively quietly, and then there's sort of the activist set that gets the attention and then is perceived to be representative spokespeople for the group. We see this with a lot of minority communities, and this whole solidarity and marginality play we see most ridiculously occurring right now with like LGBT groups and pro-Hamas protesters, right? I mean, that the intellectual disconnect is just as profound as it could be, but it's still happening. And I wonder if that's still an issue where you have, or how much an issue it is, where you have those that would agree with you, but they're just so tethered to this idea that we're all marginalized communities in our own way, and we all need to stick together to be the rich tapestry of marginalized community that supports the Democratic Party.
Yeah, and one of the historical revisionism that's gone on to insert T people as extremely prominent in gay rights is really amazing and extremely insulting. So about 10 years ago, this narrative popped up that Stonewall, which was a riot that happened in New York City that started the modern gay rights movement, that it was a trans woman of color threw the first brick at Stonewall. So they found some drag queen, not transgender, self-identified drag queen, who was around the area at that time and said, well, this person is who started it. All gay people owe their rights to trans women of color. It's absolute fiction. It's completely made up. And the trans woman in question, drag queen, named Marsha P. Johnson, was actually, by his own admission, passed out on heroin 40 blocks north of Bryant Park.
Oh, my gosh.
That did not stop the state of New York from changing the name of a state park in Brooklyn to the Marsha P. Johnson State Park.
Amazing.
Yeah. So this is one thing that it's amazing the stories they'll make up and the extent to which they're trying to push this. And it took gay rights a very long time to get off the ground, and now we see with dizzying speed the level to which this trans stuff is being pushed on everyone. That most people say we don't have anything to do with it. And you're right that it is this small set of very loud, very annoying, sometimes violent activists that are really ruining it for everyone. And giving trans people a really bad name.
Chadwick Moore, New York Times bestselling author of Tucker, the biography of Tucker Carlson, contributing editor at Spectator World as well. Chadwick, thank you as always.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chadwick, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
Your show keeps me alive during the week. There's nobody I'd rather listen to between 5 and 9 in the morning than you guys.
On AM 560, The Answer.
All right, do you want a killer Black Friday deal? I got one. Get a free Moto G 5G phone with Pure Talk. No gimmicks, no trade-in necessary. You just sign up for Pure Talk's unlimited talk and text and 15 gig data plan. It's only $35 a month, and you'll get your Moto G 5G phone for free. But here's the deal. You need to move fast because these phones are going to be gone by the end of the month. So if your current phone is on life support, you can upgrade for free with Pure Talk. Now, you enjoy 2-day battery life, an exceptional quad-pixel camera,